You, Lord, hear the desire of the afflicted. You encourage them and you listen to their cry, defending the fatherless and the oppressed. This is why I feel called to full-time ministry. Hi again, it's me just wanting to update you all on what God is doing in mine and Maya's life. There are plenty of exciting things going on as we begin a new school year and just wind down a very exciting summer. God allowed Maya and I to both participate in mission trips this summer. Separately, actually, Maya chose to go with her school on a 2-week trip to the Dominican Republic. It was her second trip there, her first mission trip without me, and I think she really enjoyed it, probably more so than when she's with me. But it was just great to hear the stories of people who served alongside of her love for the people in the Dominican, and just her desire to reach out and touch their lives again. So I was a very, very proud mom while she was gone and upon her return. Maya actually returned the same day that I left to go to Recife, Brazil. I went there as a part of my church and was able to participate in somewhat of a youth group trip, just seeing what God has done through our church there over the past 20 years of a relationship, and just seeing God's faithfulness and relationships that He builds for reasons that we may not be sure of, but I know God is doing a great work there, and that He is doing a great work in the people that participated in that trip from the U.S. as well. Another thing that's going on in my life is I feel God calling me to step out of my comfort zones into a world of really the unknown. I believe He is calling me to trust Him more deeply, to be my provider, to be my sustainer, and I am interested in to see where God is going to lead me on this journey. I know it's going to be great. As I have conversations with friends, I'm constantly saying that I know that God is going to do something bigger and better than I can ever imagine. As we get ready to go to Rwanda in October, I've been looking back at some of the photos I was able to take while we were there, and just the faces of the individuals bring back so many memories, so much happiness from a wonderful time in my life. And I wanted to share a little bit of their stories with you, because it's only because of your contributions to our ministry that we've actually been able to go and serve amongst the least of these. I want to introduce you first to Alice. Alice is just a young girl that, as soon as I arrived on campus at IWE, which is short for Institute of Women's Excellence, we had an unbelievable connection. It was, I think her picture was one of the first pictures that I actually took there. And then just to see how our relationship grew over the week. And this picture is one of my favorite because we have the biggest smiles on our face, and the only thing that we were ever able to say to one another after many, many tries of communication was, "I love you." It was so amazing to see the bond that we were able to have. Although we couldn't communicate, we would spend just time together walking around campus. If Alice was in the clinic that I was leading, we were always side by side. In Africa, you constantly hold hands, hug, touch. I mean, it's very touchy-feely, and just consistently had my arm around her or her arm around me. And Maya and I were blessed enough to have the opportunity to sponsor her as a student at IWE for about the past year and a half. Unfortunately, Alice was unable to come back to IWE at the beginning of the year, but I am very excited to go back and meet the student that we currently sponsor. Hopefully, a little selfishly, I hope that I'm somehow able to connect with Alice while I'm there. She has become such a dear part of my life. It's hard to believe that you can love someone that you've just met, but I love her as if she is my own daughter. I care for her more than I can put into words, and I will never forget her smile. One of my favorite people at EWE is actually the headmistress. Her name is Theo Peace. She is just a mother to these many young girls at EWE. EWE is changing the lives of these girls. They are being challenged to be the best that they can possibly be. They are challenged to learn and perform educationally at a higher level than most public schools in Rwanda. And a lot of that goes back to Theo Peace. She loves these girls as if they were her own children. It was so neat to just sit back and talk with her about the desires of her heart, of what she desires to see EWE become. Her personal drive to make EWE the best school in Rwanda just gives me hope for these girls. It gives me hope for Alice. It gives me hope for the other hundreds of girls that are currently at EWE. It gives me hope for the students that will be there in years to come. When I was at EWE the first time, I was speaking with Theo Peace and some of the other educators there, and my initial inquiry was, how can I be on staff here? What can I do to serve here full time? Because they made such a huge impact on my life just within that first week of getting to know them, to see Theo Peace serving so selflessly, arriving at school on a moto, just bright and early in the morning, staying way past dark, and then coming and just giving us her dreams and her desires for the school. She has just made such a huge difference in my life, to see someone give so selflessly for people who don't belong to her own family, but the courage that she has to give them an education that most of them probably never even dreamed of receiving. She is just such a huge inspiration to me. The third face that I want to show you from Africa is definitely familiar to you, I'm sure. It's actually Maya's face. Just looking through these photos and seeing the smile on her face and just the happiness that she exudes while she is serving makes me the proudest mom that I could possibly ever be. Maya is in one of these photos holding a sign for ALARM, which is African Leadership and Reconciliation Ministries. The photo, you probably won't be able to tell, but it is of a white person's hand and then an African's hand holding a sign. And it just makes me hopeful for Maya's generation, a generation that is seeking to serve others, a generation that is going out and serving people who are not like themselves, either on this continent or on another continent. Being able to impart this desire into her heart and to see God just nourish her soul with love from so many people and so many different lands, it just makes me realize more and more God's love for me as my Father and the role that He plays in my life in putting people into my path that I can serve. And I just pray and hope that the joy that I see in the photos of Maya is what you see from me. Every relationship that I've been able to make, as well as every opportunity I've been given to serve, just confirms God's call in my life to serve Him full time. And those opportunities, those relationships would not have been possible without your prayers and without your contributions. In Psalm 10, verses 17 through 18, I read this morning, it says, "You, Lord, hear the desire of the afflicted. You encourage them and you listen to their cry, defending the fatherless and the oppressed." This is why I feel called to full-time ministry. This is why I feel called to work with the least of these in Africa. God has heard their desires. He has encouraged them. He listens to their cries and He defends them. I want to be a part of that. I want to encourage them with the hope and the truth of the gospel. I want to hear their cries and each of their desires so that I can hopefully make a difference in their lives. And my question to you is, will you be a part of this with me? For some of you, that may mean standing alongside of me in prayer and praying for me as I prepare for this trip, as I prepare for really God's plan for me over the next few years, with whatever He is calling me to do, and step out in faith for Him. For others of you, that may mean giving financially to allow this ministry to go forward, for me to be able to serve alongside of the wonderful people that I mentioned and introduced you to today. Whatever it may be, ever how God is calling you to partner with me, I just want to say thank you. And it is appreciated more than you will ever know until you see these wonderful people in the kingdom of God. Thank you.